The Infinity, a sleek vessel that looked like a shard of night itself, stood poised at the edge of the known universe, ready to pierce the veil of the cosmos. Captain Maya King stood at the helm, her gaze fixed on the star-strewn void ahead, a silent testament to the gravity of their mission. The air in the bridge was thick with anticipation, each member of her crew aware of the stakes at hand, yet bound by a resolve as unyielding as the ship they served on. First Officer Jacob Nguyen, always King's steadfast support, observed the crew with a keen eye. He knew the importance of unity, especially now, in the shadow of uncertainty that loomed ahead. "All systems are green, Captain. The Infinity awaits your command," he announced, his voice steady, betraying none of the tension that knotted his stomach. Chief Engineer Olivia Robinson, surrounded by a labyrinth of screens and controls, nodded in agreement. Her fingers danced over the panels with practiced ease, ensuring their vessel was in peak condition. "The engines are purring like a kitten, Captain. We're ready to leap into the unknown," she said, her tone laced with a mix of humor and confidence. Science Officer Lucas Patel, his eyes alight with the thirst for discovery, chimed in from his station. "The universe holds its breath for us, Captain. What secrets will uncover, what truths will unveil," he mused, his mind already racing ahead to the mysteries that awaited them. Navigator Ava Turner, the pathfinder among them, plotted their course with meticulous precision. "Our trajectory is set, Captain. Once we jump, there's no turning back," she reminded, her voice a gentle anchor in the vastness of space. Communications Officer Ethan Thompson scanned the frequencies, a guardian against the silence of the void. "Comms are clear, Captain. We'll hear the stars whisper before they see us coming," he assured, a smirk playing on his lips, confident in his ability to pierce the veil of silence that enveloped them. Tactical Officer Lily Garcia stood vigilant, her eyes scanning the endless dark. "The armaments are locked and loaded, Captain. Let's hope the only fighting we do is against the unknown," she said, her resolve as firm as the steel walls that encased them. Captain King absorbed their reports, a sense of pride swelling in her chest. This was her crew, her family, bound not by blood, but by a shared purpose. She turned to face them, her voice cutting through the tension like a beacon. "Today, we embark on a journey that will test us in ways we cannot yet imagine. We are venturers, explorers of the final frontier, seeking what lies beyond the edge of possibility. Remember, we carry not just the hopes of our people, but the potential for a new beginning. Let's show the cosmos what the Infinity is made of." With a decisive nod from King, the Infinity lurched forward, a specter against the cosmic tapestry, slipping silently into the void. The stars blurred into streaks of light as they made the jump into hyperspace, leaving behind the known universe for the promise of the uncharted. The void of space, a canvas of unending darkness pierced by the light of distant stars, had always held a silence so profound it seemed to echo. Within this silent expanse, the Infinity sailed, a lone vessel charting its course through the unknown. The crew, having settled into the rhythm of deep space travel, found their routine abruptly shattered by an anomaly that pierced the silence like a scream in the dark. Thompson was the first to detect the anomaly, his brow furrowing as the communications console lit up with an unexpected signal. It was a distress beacon, ancient and weak, yet unmistakably deliberate, its origins a mystery wrapped in the static of eons. "Captain, we've picked up something," he called out, his voice a mix of curiosity and concern. "It's a distress signal, but it's unlike anything I've seen before." King approached, her interest piqued. The crew gathered around, a collective sense of unease permeating the air. "Where's it coming from?" she asked, her mind racing through the implications. Turner pinpointed the signal's origin with swift efficiency, her fingers flying over her console. "An uncharted planet, Captain. It's not on any of our maps. The signal's old, very old." The revelation sparked a debate among the crew. Patel, ever the scientist, argued for investigation. "Think of what we might discover," he urged, his eyes alight with the prospect of unraveling a cosmic mystery. Robinson, practical as always, voiced her concerns. "We don't know what's down there. It could be dangerous," she countered, her mind on the safety of the ship and her crew. Nguyen watched the exchange, weighing the arguments. He knew the risks, but also the potential rewards. "Captain, this could be a significant find. But it's your call," he said, his loyalty to King's decision unwavering. King pondered the choices before her. The mission was paramount, yet the call of the unknown, the chance to aid a long-forgotten plea, tugged at her heart. "Prepare a landing party," she decided, her voice firm. "We investigate, but let's be cautious. Patel, Robinson, you're with me. Nguyen, you have the bridge." The decision made, the Infinity adjusted its course, descending toward the mysterious planet. The atmosphere crackled with anticipation as they prepared to embark on a detour that would lead them into the heart of an ancient enigma. The planet loomed before them, a desolate orb shrouded in shadows and secrets, its surface scarred by the ravages of time and neglect. As they landed, the airlock hissed open, revealing a landscape that whispered of desolation and decay. The silence of the planet was oppressive, a stark contrast to the lifeless void from which they had come. The distress signal beckoned them forward, a beacon in the darkness leading them into the unknown. Robinson checked her gear, her engineer's mind assessing the situation. "Remember, we're not just explorers, we're survivors. Let's stick together," she reminded them, her voice a steadying presence in the eerie stillness. Patel's excitement was palpable, his scientific curiosity overriding the trepidation that clawed at the edges of his mind. "Imagine the secrets this place holds," he whispered, almost to himself, as they moved forward, drawn inexorably toward the source of the signal. The planet's surface was a puzzle, its pieces a mosaic of civilizations long crumbled into dust. They navigated the ruins, each step taking them deeper into a story that had unfolded millennia before their arrival. The signal grew stronger, a guiding thread through the labyrinth of the past, until they stood before its source. What they found was a relic, a beacon of ancient technology so advanced yet so alien, it seemed to defy understanding. Patel approached, his hands trembling with the weight of discovery. As he reached out, the air around the beacon shimmered and a wave of energy surged forth, enveloping him in its glow. The crew watched in horror as Patel's scream pierced the silence, his body convulsing under the influence of the beacon's mysterious power. King rushed to his side, her instincts as a leader overriding her shock. But as quickly as it had begun, the energy dissipated, leaving Patel lying on the ground, his body changed. The crew stood in stunned silence, the gravity of their decision crashing down upon them. They had sought the unknown, and now it stared back at them from the eyes of their friend, whispering of horrors yet to come. The return to the Infinity was a somber journey, the crew enveloped in a heavy silence, punctuated only by the labored breathing of Patel, now lying prone on a makeshift stretcher. The once vibrant scientist appeared as though he was locked in a battle with his own body, his skin pallid, veins pulsating with an eerie, almost luminescent, violet hue. Robinson, her usual composure shaken, monitored his vitals with a mixture of fear and fascination. "His body is fighting something, but I've never seen anything like it," she muttered under her breath, her eyes never leaving the screen displaying Patel's rapidly fluctuating biomarkers. Upon their arrival, King immediately ordered Patel to be quarantined in the medical bay. The room, designed to contain any potential pathogens from alien worlds, became a glass cage showcasing a transformation that was both horrifying and mesmerizing. Patel's condition worsened, his body contorting unnaturally, bones cracking and reshaping, as if an unseen sculptor wielded his flesh like clay. His screams, muffled by the quarantine barrier, echoed through the ship, a haunting reminder of the unknown dangers that lurked in the cosmos. Nguyen, standing beside King as they observed Patel's agony, voiced the question that haunted them all. What did we bring aboard, Maya? What is happening to him? His use of King's first name, a rare breach of protocol, underscored the gravity of the situation. King, her gaze locked on Patel, responded with a voice tinged with regret. I don't know, Jacob, but we'll find the answers. We have to. Her resolve did little to dispel the growing dread that perhaps some stones were best left unturned. The crew, once unified by curiosity and the thrill of exploration, now found themselves divided by fear. Turner, attempting to lighten the mood, cracked a joke about needing a better welcome party for alien pathogens. Her attempt at humor fell flat, the tension too thick, the situation too grim for levity. In the days that followed, Patel's transformation became a grotesque spectacle. His body, now barely recognizable as human, showcased an array of biological anomalies that defied earthly biology. Tendrils sprouted from his flesh, weaving into the air like the roots of a dark tree seeking sunlight. His eyes, once bright with intelligence and curiosity, were now a milky white, seeing things beyond their understanding. Robinson worked tirelessly, her engineer's mind refusing to accept defeat. There has to be a way to reverse this, she insisted, her fingers stained with chemicals and blood, a testament to her relentless efforts. Yet for all her genius, the solution eluded her, the alien pathogen mocking her from within its host. Garcia, ever the pragmatist, began to voice concerns about the safety of the crew. If this thing breaks containment, we're all at risk, she pointed out, her hand resting unconsciously on her sidearm. We need to be prepared for the worst. Thompson, meanwhile, found himself haunted by the transmissions they had intercepted, the distress signal that had led them to this nightmare. Was it a warning? Or a trap? He wondered aloud, his role as the communications officer taking on a sinister new dimension. The crew's descent into madness was not just physical, manifested in Patel's twisted form, but psychological, each member grappling with the implications of their discovery. The promise of knowledge and exploration had turned into a Pandora's box of horrors, the lid flung open to reveal the dark heart of the universe. As Patel's condition stabilized into something unrecognizable, the crew was forced to confront the reality that the man they knew was gone, replaced by something else entirely, something alien, something terrifying. And yet, amidst the horror, there was a perverse beauty to his transformation, a reminder of the infinite possibilities that the universe held. Possibilities that were both wondrous and, as they had learned, profoundly dangerous. In the sterile confines of the Infinity's medical bay, the crew faced a reality they could never have prepared for. Patel, once a beacon of scientific curiosity and brilliance, now lay as a testament to the unknown dangers of the cosmos, his body a grotesque amalgamation of his former self and something other. The glass partition, meant to protect them, now also served as a barrier between the known and the incomprehensible. Robinson, her resolve unbroken despite the dire circumstances, had transformed the medical bay into a makeshift lab, her engineering prowess finding a new purpose in the biological nightmare they faced. I'm charting uncharted waters here, she confessed to King, who stood by her side, a silent pillar of strength amidst the storm. But there's a pattern in every system, biological or mechanical. I just need to find it. The crew's morale wavered, the weight of their situation a constant presence. Yet, in the face of uncertainty, their camaraderie remained unshaken. Turner attempted to inject a semblance of normalcy, her comments on the ship's course now interspersed with quiet updates on Patel's condition. If he starts asking for brains, I'm officially transferring to navigation full-time, she quipped, her humor a fragile shield against the horror. Thompson, meanwhile, scoured the ship's archives and external databases for any record of similar phenomena, his role as the communications officer taking on a new, urgent dimension. There's mention of ancient civilizations encountering transformative plagues, he reported, his voice laced with a mix of fascination and dread. But nothing like this. Nguyen, tasked with maintaining order and discipline, found himself confronting not external threats, but the internal specter of fear and uncertainty. "We knew the risks when we signed up for this mission," he reminded his crew, his words as much for himself as for them. "But we're not done yet. We're going to find a way through this. Together." Garcia, ever vigilant, stood guard outside the quarantine zone, her presence a constant reminder of the stakes. As days turned into weeks, the crew of the Infinity navigated the treacherous waters of their predicament. Patel's transformation had stabilized, his consciousness seemingly lost to the alien entity that had claimed his body. And yet, there were moments, fleeting and heartbreakingly brief, when his eyes cleared, and the man they knew seemed to gaze back at them, a silent plea for understanding, or perhaps forgiveness, in his gaze. King, watching over her crew and the being that Patel had become, felt the weight of her decisions more acutely than ever. "We sought the stars to learn, to grow," she reflected aloud to Robinson, who continued her tireless work. "But some lessons come at a cost." And as they pressed on, each breakthrough, each setback, was a step toward a truth that was as terrifying as it was transcendent. The Infinity, a vessel of steel and spirit, carried them forward, a beacon of hope in the vast, unyielding dark. As the Infinity carved its silent path through the void, the unity that had once been the crew's unbreakable bond began to show signs of strain. The eerie calm of space belied the storm brewing within the confines of the ship, a tempest of doubt and suspicion fueled by the horrors they had witnessed. King observed her crew, noting the shadows beneath their eyes, the tense set of their shoulders. The weight of command had never felt heavier, and she knew the coming days would test her leadership as never before. "We need to stay focused," she urged them during a somber assembly in the common area. "Whatever this entity is, understanding it could be crucial to our mission and our survival." But the seeds of discord had already been sown. Thompson, his usual jovial demeanor clouded by unease, had intercepted fragments of encrypted communications emanating from within the ship itself. "There are whispers in the dark," he confided to King, his voice low. "Someone's keeping secrets, and it's eating away at trust." The revelation sent ripples through the crew, with suspicion casting its pall over every interaction. Turner, whose wit had often served as a bridge between crew members, found her attempts at levity falling on deaf ears. "Guess we're all too scared to laugh," she remarked to Nguyen, her words tinged with bitterness. "Fear's got a tight grip on us." Nguyen, aware of the fragile morale, struggled to maintain order. "We can't let paranoia divide us," he asserted, his authority challenged by whispered accusations and sidelong glances. Yet even his steadfast presence couldn't stem the tide of mistrust that flowed through the corridors of the Infinity. Garcia, tasked with the ship's security, found herself at the center of a growing storm. Allegations of negligence for allowing the alien entity aboard, despite her lack of control over the situation, began to surface. "I'm a soldier, not a magician," she snapped during a heated confrontation with a faction of the crew. "I can't predict the unknown." The tension reached a boiling point when Robinson, driven to exhaustion by her relentless research into the entity, clashed with Patel's former allies. "You think I'm not trying?" she exploded, frustration boiling over as she faced accusations of failing to find a cure. "I'm doing everything I can, but science doesn't have all the answers, especially not to this." As divisions deepened, King found herself facing not just the external threat of the unknown, but the internal collapse of the unity that had defined their mission. In a moment of desperation, she called a meeting, hoping to bridge the chasm that had opened between her crew. "Listen to yourselves," she implored, standing before them in the dim light of the common area. "We're not enemies. The real enemy is out there." She gestured to the void beyond the ship's hull. "In the depths of space, in the mysteries that defy our understanding, if we turn on each other, we've already lost." Her words, heartfelt and earnest, hung in the air, a plea for unity in the face of unraveling bonds. But as the crew dispersed, the uncertainty remained, a silent specter that haunted the ship's corridors. As they retreated into their own thoughts, the question of survival loomed large, not just from the alien entity that had invaded their midst, but from the very human threat of fear and suspicion that threatened to tear them apart from within. Amid the growing discord, Nguyen, ever the mediator, sought to uncover the root of the encrypted communications that Thompson had stumbled upon. The ship's undercurrents of tension and suspicion had eroded the camaraderie once shared, and he was determined to restore unity. His investigation led him to the ship's lower decks, where the hum of the Infinity's engines provided a constant backdrop to his thoughts. In the bowels of the ship, amidst the labyrinth of pipes and cables, Nguyen discovered a hidden data terminal, its screen flickering in the dim light. The encrypted messages, once deciphered, revealed a shocking truth, a conspiracy that threaded through the very mission they had embarked upon. "King needs to see this," Nguyen whispered to himself, the weight of the discovery heavy in his heart. As he made his way back to the bridge, the ship shuddered, a silent reminder of the vast, indifferent cosmos that surrounded them. King, grappling with the fracturing of her crew, looked up as Nguyen entered, her eyes searching his. "What have you found?" she asked, sensing the urgency in his stride. Nguyen presented the decrypted messages, the evidence of a hidden agenda laid bare. "It's not just paranoia," he explained, his voice steady despite the turmoil. "Someone on this ship is working against us." The revelation struck King like a physical blow, the betrayal more piercing than any alien threat they faced. "We need to confront this head-on," she declared, her resolve hardening. "Gather the crew. It's time we brought this into the light." The assembly that followed was tense, the air charged with anticipation and fear. King addressed her crew, the decrypted messages displayed for all to see. "We are faced with a betrayal of the highest order," she began, her voice echoing through the silence. "But we cannot let this divide us. We must stand united now more than ever." The crew, confronted with the evidence, reacted with a mixture of anger, disbelief, and fear. Accusations flew, the fragile bonds of trust further strained by the revelation. Amid the chaos, Turner, her usual levity absent, stood up. "Let's not lose ourselves to fear," she implored, her appeal a beacon of reason in the storm. "We're better than this." The discussions that followed were heated, every crew member forced to confront their suspicions and prejudices. Robinson, her mind a whirlwind of betrayal and science, spoke up. "This ship, our mission, it's about exploration, about pushing the boundaries of what we know. Let's not forget that, even now." As the meeting drew to a close, the crew found themselves at a crossroads. The betrayal had been laid bare, but the identity of the saboteur remained a mystery. Garcia, her resolve as security officer unshaken, vowed to find the traitor. "We'll get to the bottom of this," she assured, her determination a lifeline in the uncertainty. In the aftermath, King and Nguyen stood alone on the bridge, the stars a silent witness to their conversation. "We'll navigate this storm," King said, her gaze fixed on the void. "Together." But as the Infinity continued its journey, a new threat emerged. Patel, his transformation now complete, began to exhibit signs of consciousness, his mutated form straining against the confines of the quarantine. The crew, already on the brink, faced a new challenge. The lines between friend and foe blurred in the face of the unknown. In the cold expanse of space, the Infinity pushed forward, its crew bound by a tenuous thread of unity against the backdrop of betrayal and alien mystery. The revelation of a saboteur among them had cast a long shadow over their mission, but the determination to uncover the truth burned brighter than ever. Turner, her navigation screens casting a soft glow on her focused face, broke the silence that had enveloped the bridge. "We're approaching the coordinates of the next sector," she announced, her voice cutting through the tension like a knife. The normalcy of her duty stood in stark contrast to the turmoil that had gripped the ship. King, standing by the window and gazing into the abyss, turned her attention to the crew. Stay alert, she instructed, her leadership unyielding in the face of adversity. We don't know what awaits us out there. The atmosphere aboard the Infinity had changed. The air was thick with suspicion and the weight of unspoken accusations. Nguyen, always the peacemaker, found his efforts to maintain harmony more challenging than ever. We can't let distrust tear us apart, he reminded Garcia, who had been tirelessly investigating the crew, her suspicion a heavy cloak around her shoulders. It was during one of Garcia's routine security checks that the truth finally emerged. Hidden in Turner's quarters, behind a panel cleverly disguised to blend with the rest of the ship's sleek design, lay the damning evidence communication devices not of their standard issue, and encrypted data pads filled with covert correspondences. Confronted with the evidence, Turner's composure shattered. The crew, gathered in the common area for what was supposed to be a routine meeting, watched in silence as the betrayal was laid bare. I had no choice, Turner confessed, tears streaking down her face. They have my family. They said they would spare them if I helped. The revelation hit the crew like a physical blow. The understanding that one of their own had been coerced into betrayal added a complex layer of sorrow to their anger. King, her heart heavy, placed a hand on Turner's shoulder. We are not your enemies, Ava. We could have helped you, she said, her voice soft, yet tinged with a profound sense of betrayal. The crew's reaction was a mix of emotions, anger, betrayal, but also empathy. Thompson, who had always believed in the strength of their bond, spoke up. What now? Do we just turn on each other, or do we face this together? His question hung in the air, a challenge to the very foundation of their unity. In the aftermath of Turner's confession, the crew faced a difficult choice. King, ever the captain, made the decision. We will not let fear dictate our actions, she declared, her resolve a beacon in the storm. We will continue our mission, and Ava will have a chance to make amends. As the Infinity carved its path through the darkness, a new challenge emerged, one that threatened not just the unity of the crew, but their very survival. An alien entity, drawn by the energy emanating from Patel's transformation, had latched onto the ship, its intentions unknown, but its presence undeniably hostile. The ship's alarms blared into the silence of space, a clarion call that rallied the crew to action. King, her face set in determination, coordinated their defense from the bridge. We've faced challenges before, she reminded her crew, her voice steady over the din of alarms. We'll face this one also. Garcia, her tactical displays lit with the threat signatures of the alien entity, worked feverishly to mount a defense. It's like nothing I've ever seen, she admitted, her hands moving with practiced efficiency over her controls. But it's not invincible. Robinson, meanwhile, had taken to engineering, her domain within the ship. The entity's attempts to breach their systems were met with her cunning countermeasures. You're not getting in that easily, she muttered, her focus absolute as she rerouted power to reinforce their defenses. Turner, despite the shadow of her recent confession, stood resolute at her navigation console, her guilt fueled into determination. I'll find us a way out of this, she promised, her fingers dancing across her controls, plotting a course that would leverage the ship's agility against the entity's size. Nguyen, always the crew's moral compass, moved among them, offering words of encouragement and solidarity. We're more than just a crew, he reminded them. We're a family. This thing has no idea what it's up against. Amid the chaos, Patel, or what he had become, showed signs of awareness. His mutated form, now a grotesque blend of human and alien, seemed to resonate with the presence of the entity attacking the ship. In a moment of lucidity, or perhaps understanding, he communicated through the ship's systems, his voice a haunting echo in their minds. Help me, he implored, to help you. The crew, taken aback by Patel's unexpected plea, realized that he might be the key to their salvation. Robinson quickly devised a plan to channel Patel's connection with the entity into a weapon. It's risky, she warned, but it might just work. With the ship's systems aligned to amplify Patel's energy, the crew made their stand. The Infinity, a beacon of light in the dark, channeled the very essence of their transformed comrade towards the alien entity. The confrontation was brief but intense, a maelstrom of energy that lit the void. In the aftermath, the alien entity recoiled, defeated by the ingenuity of the Infinity's crew. Patel, having expended his energy in the confrontation, lay still, his form quiet. The crew gathered around, a solemn silence falling over them. In his final act, Patel had saved them. King, her eyes moist with unshed tears, spoke softly. "Let's remember him as he was, and what he did for us here." Her words, a eulogy for their fallen comrade, resonated with each member of the crew, a reminder of the cost of their journey. As the Infinity moved on, its course corrected but its mission unchanged, the crew faced the future with a renewed sense of purpose. They had survived the impossible, united by loss and strengthened by the challenges they had overcome. The aftermath of their last stand against the alien entity left the Infinity scarred but intact, its crew somber yet united in their resolve. The ship, now silent, continued its journey through the void, the weight of their losses a constant companion. Robinson, her hands still trembling from the exertion of the battle, inspected the ship's core systems. "The damage is extensive," she reported, her voice a mixture of exhaustion and determination. "But she'll hold, she has to." King, standing amidst the remnants of the confrontation, reflected on their journey. "We set out to explore, to discover," she mused, her gaze lost in the stars that whirled past. "But what we've found is that the greatest discoveries come with the greatest costs." As they neared the edge of the sector, an ominous warning blared through the ship's systems. Turner, her expertise no longer overshadowed by her past actions, worked feverishly at her station. "There's a gravitational anomaly ahead," she announced, her voice edged with urgency. "It's a black hole." The crew's collective heart sank. A black hole, the devourer of light, presented a challenge unlike any they had faced. "Can we navigate around it?" King asked, her command steady despite the rising fear. Turner shook her head, her calculations leaving no room for doubt. "We don't have the fuel for a detour. Our only chance is to slingshot around it, using its gravity to propel us forward." The plan was fraught with risk, but it offered a glimmer of hope. Nguyen, his presence a steadying force, rallied the crew. "We've faced the impossible before," he reminded them. "Let's do it again." The maneuver required precision and courage. Garcia, her hands steady on the tactical console, prepared the ship's thrusters for the intricate dance of gravity and momentum. "Here goes nothing," she muttered, a sentiment echoed in the hearts of her crewmates. As the Infinity approached the event horizon, the black hole's immense gravity tugged at them, a cosmic siren call that threatened to pull them into oblivion. Robinson monitored the ship's structural integrity, her voice a constant stream of updates. "Hull stress at 75%, 80%, holding steady." The tension was palpable, each crew member holding their breath as Turner navigated the treacherous currents of space-time. The ship shuddered, caught between the pull of the black hole and the push of its engines, a fragile leaf in a cosmic storm. Then, with a burst of light and energy, the Infinity broke free, slingshotting away from the black hole's grasp. Cheers erupted on the bridge, a moment of triumph against the backdrop of their harrowing journey. But the celebration was short-lived. Robinson's voice, once filled with relief, turned grave. "The engines are damaged. We're not going to make it back to known space." The revelation struck a blow deeper than any alien attack. Stranded with limited resources and no hope of rescue, the reality of their situation settled in. King addressed her crew once more, her voice imbued with a melancholy strength. "We set out to explore the unknown, to push the boundaries of what we thought possible. We've done that, and more." As the Infinity drifted aimlessly through the void, its crew gathered in the common area, a makeshift assembly of the family they had become. The dim lighting cast long shadows, mirroring the uncertainty of their fate. King stood before them not just as their captain, but as their anchor in the uncharted waters they now found themselves. Nguyen, leaning against the wall, his arms crossed, nodded slightly. We've faced the unknown, confronted our fears, and though the future is uncertain, I wouldn't change a thing. Robinson, her engineering jacket draped over her chair, chimed in with a weary smile. Given the chance, I'd do it all over again. The mysteries of the universe aren't meant to be feared but understood. Turner, her earlier betrayal now a distant memory, found solace in their acceptance. I found redemption among the stars, she said quietly, her gaze meeting King's. Thank you for that. As the crew shared their reflections, a sudden alert from the ship's systems interrupted their reverie. Thompson, who had been monitoring the communications array, frowned. There's a transmission coming in, he announced, his tone a mix of surprise and skepticism. The crew tensed, expecting a final challenge, a last test of their resolve. But what played over the speakers was not a threat, but a revelation. The voice, familiar yet distant, belonged to their command back home. Infinity, this is command. Your mission was a test, a new version of a simulation designed to push you to the limits. Congratulations, you've passed. The revelation hung in the air, a bombshell that rendered them speechless. The hardships, the losses, the victories, they had been part of a simulation, a test of their resilience, their unity, their humanity. King, her expression unreadable, processed the words. Our journey, our struggles, they were real to us. That's what matters. Her voice, though calm, carried an undercurrent of betrayal, a sense of having been used. The crew, their emotions a whirlwind, grappled with the implications. Nguyen broke the silence, his voice steady. Real or not, what we've learned about ourselves, about each other, can't be simulated. Robinson nodded, her gaze fixed on the stars beyond the viewport. We've touched the face of the cosmos. No simulation can take that away from us. As they contemplated their experiences, the line between reality and the simulation blurred. They had ventured beyond the known, faced the depths of cosmic horror and the heights of human courage. King addressed her crew, her family, one last time. Our journey doesn't end here. We carry with us the knowledge that, in the face of the vast unknowable universe, we stood together, and that is our true victory. Then, to King's horror, everyone disappeared as the simulation shut down. None of it was real. Everything had been part of the simulation, or in this case, King's test. The betrayal she felt at that moment was the only real thing she had left.